There's a long-standing rumor that Albert Einstein, one of history's most brilliant minds, believed that certain truths should be so tightly guarded that even those closest to you should never fully know them. While we'll never be completely certain of Einstein's private thoughts, he was, after all, famously protective of his personal life. This notion of maintaining secrecy resonates strongly in a world where we're often encouraged to share every moment, every achievement, and every struggle with just about everyone we encounter. Yet there's a potential danger in oversharing that can ignite controversies, spark gossip, or even put our closest relationships under strain. Today, I want to talk about 5 things you should never share with anyone if you value not only your peace of mind, but also your long-term well-being. Consider these lessons in light of Einstein's own cautious approach to the public eye. First, let's imagine you've poured countless hours, maybe even years, into reaching a specific goal or chasing a dream. You've finally achieved it. You're proud, excited, and eager to inspire others by showing them how you did it. But here's where the first pitfall lies: the exact methods or secrets behind your success. Telling the world in detail how you achieved something extraordinary might sound helpful and motivational, but it opens the door to all sorts of potential misunderstandings. Some people might try to replicate your strategy and fail, then turn around and accuse you of withholding key steps. Others might envy your methods, see them as unfair, or twist them into something controversial you never intended. Einstein himself reportedly faced criticism when he was overly generous with his research notes early on. The story goes that he tried to be transparent about his line of thought, but critics, who either didn't fully understand the complexity of his theories or harbored jealousy, took those disclosures as an opportunity to pick apart his work and question his motives. In a world brimming with cynicism, sharing your success strategy in too much detail can easily paint a target on your back. A little mystery protects you from unwarranted critique and preserves the uniqueness of your approach. There's a big difference between inspiring others with the fact you succeeded and revealing every single step you took to do so. Next, let's discuss the second thing you should keep private: your personal struggles. It's completely natural to want to talk about your problems. After all, a good venting session can feel cathartic, and sometimes we crave sympathy or support when we're going through a rough patch. However, oversharing your struggles can backfire in surprising ways. Unfortunately, there are people out there who relish hearing that you're having a hard time. They may not do so openly, but they store that information away, sometimes using it as gossip fodder or a means to feel better about their own circumstances. Others might genuinely want to help, but inadvertently spread your private issues by discussing them with friends or co-workers, thinking they're providing you with helpful advice. And let's not forget that once your struggles become a public topic, you can't control the narrative around them. Rumors can balloon, opinions can distort the real story, and suddenly you find yourself at the center of speculation that only amplifies your stress. Einstein himself was famously discreet about most of his personal hardships. Though he faced marital issues, family conflicts, and professional setbacks, there's little record of him openly lamenting these to the public. By keeping his personal life relatively quiet, he avoided the risk of having his reputation overshadowed by drama. So before you open up about your deepest problems to everyone, consider that some things might be best kept between you and a trusted confidant, or a professional therapist who's ethically bound to keep your information private. The third major point to keep under wraps is your biggest dreams and ambitions. We all have them, right? Maybe you want to start an influential nonprofit, write the next best-selling novel, or launch a startup that could change the way we live. These dreams are often what drive us forward, fuel our passions, and help us endure countless obstacles. But the moment we broadcast them too openly, We risk encountering critics who doubt our capabilities, or worse, individuals who might try to undermine us before we even begin. There's a widely circulated anecdote that Einstein didn't reveal some of his more controversial theories until he had tested and retested them thoroughly, ensuring he was prepared for any skepticism he'd receive. Whether or not that story is fully accurate, it illustrates a profound lesson. Premature disclosure can derail an idea that hasn't yet had the chance to fully mature. The more people weigh in, the more likely you are to second-guess yourself. Plus, incessant external feedback can dilute your vision, drowning out the very spark that makes your dream special. It's not about never sharing your plans. You may need collaborators, mentors, and a supportive network, but there's a difference between seeking constructive input from a few trusted individuals and announcing your goals to anyone who will. Listen, keep that circle small and selective, and you'll preserve the energy and clarity you need to transform your dreams into reality. Fourth on the list is a topic that often sparks even more envy, curiosity, and controversy than personal. Success, your income and financial details. Nothing stirs interest and sometimes resentment like money. When people know precisely how much you earn, it can alter the dynamics of a friendship, a work relationship, or even your standing in a community. Some will judge you for making too little, while others might resent you for making too much. They may question your lifestyle choices, assume things about your spending habits, or use that information to manipulate you into paying for things or lending money. History suggests Einstein, who did enjoy significant grant funding for his research, was pretty vague about the exact figures involved. It wasn't just about humility, it was also a calculated choice to avoid constant speculation or the potential scrutiny that might come from people who disagreed with how his funding was used. In the modern era, one shaped by social media, personal branding, and the constant push to display every aspect of our lives, there's an added pressure to show off your financial achievements. Yet by keeping your exact earnings and bank account balances private, you protect yourself from opportunists, maintain more stable relationships, and dodge the stress of being perceived solely through the lens of your finances. Finally, let's explore the fifth and perhaps most personal matter you should keep to yourself: your family problems. Every family, no matter how seemingly perfect on the outside, grapples with its fair share of conflict. Sometimes these are minor spats, other times they're deep-rooted issues that can follow us for years. It's tempting to talk about them with friends or on social media, especially when emotions are running high. But the moment you expose family issues to a larger audience, those problems take on a life of their own. Other people, who might only hear a fragment of the story, can judge, advise poorly, or even create drama that wasn't there to begin with. This goes double when it comes to very sensitive matters: financial disputes, disagreements about marriage or parenting styles, or intergenerational conflicts. Einstein's personal life was far from perfect. Rumors suggest he had tensions within his family, particularly in his marriage, and that he took great care to keep many of those difficulties out of the public eye. Why? Likely because involving the press, critics, and acquaintances who don't fully understand the context would only have magnified his stress. And that remains true for anyone. The wrong piece of family gossip can escalate quickly and create divisions that are difficult to mend. Sometimes professional intervention, a counselor or mediator, can be far more productive than a friend's well-intentioned but uninformed opinion. Each of these 5 areas, your secret to success, your personal struggles, your biggest dreams, your finances, and your family problems, can become a source of significant tension and misunderstanding if thrust into the public spotlight. It's not that we should never talk about these things at all. In fact, a strong support system, whether personal or professional, can make a world of difference when you need advice, comfort, or collaboration. The key is being selective about whom you share these details with and understanding the potential ramifications of making them too widely known. Oversharing is often done in the spirit of honesty or vulnerability, but it can have the opposite effect, leaving us feeling exposed and misunderstood. Einstein's life story, although at times surrounded by myth and speculation, offers a cautionary example. Here was a man revered for his genius, yet keenly aware of how easily public perception can sway or tarnish that genius. He chose a careful path, revealing just enough of himself to engage in global discourse about science, ethics, and philosophy, but rarely so much that the public had complete access to his personal world. That balance allowed him to maintain his dignity, steer clear of needless controversies, and focus on what truly mattered to him, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. In our modern, interconnected culture, it might be even more challenging to strike that balance. Sharing is effortless, and it often feels rewarding, at least in the moment. But the long-term consequences of total openness can be damaging in ways we don't immediately foresee. Think about your own life for a moment. Which of these 5 areas is most difficult for you to keep private? Are you someone who proudly details every step of your success to anybody who's curious? Do you find yourself venting your problems at every turn, hoping for sympathy or solutions? Maybe you love announcing your loftiest goals, believing you'll find supporters who help you make them a reality. Or perhaps you've never hesitated to discuss your financial details with friends, or you regularly share family disputes on social media. There's no shame in acknowledging that these habits might feel comforting or normal in a society that encourages openness. However, recognizing the potential downside is the first step toward guarding yourself against misunderstandings and unwanted attention. Ultimately, a little privacy can go a long way, much like leaving people guessing about certain parts of your life. This doesn't mean cutting yourself off from genuine connection. It simply means discerning who gets to know your secrets and for what purpose. By preserving some mystery, you not only protect the depth of your personal experiences, but also prevent the outside world from misusing your vulnerabilities. Just as Einstein might have done, weigh the consequences before you speak. When you hold back those 5 crucial things, your path to success, your darkest troubles, your boldest ambitions, your exact finances, and your family's internal conflicts, you might just find that your mental clarity and emotional well-being remain intact. And in the end, that careful guardianship of personal information can free you to focus on what truly matters in life, without the burden of constant judgment, gossip, or unsolicited interference. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, sometimes what you don't share can be just as powerful as what you do.